Okay, and I am recording. So, hey guys, it's been a while. Summer is chaotic. So I'm gonna have to move team calls, I think, to the morning. So I hope that that will work with you guys. But pretty much anytime after 12, I'm like, I just can't. My time is not my own. Um, so what I want to cover today is a few things because I know some of us are still struggling with initial conversations and maybe still adding to our network and kind of how we organically and naturally talk to people. And then I want to move into what we're going to be doing next week, which is a coach sneak peek on Instagram. So we're switching it up. I'm kind of excited because I've been playing around with it, and I think this will be a really fun format for us and not so much stress that sometimes the Facebook group even adds on. So a little bit of stress because we still have to do things like share our story and maybe get on stories a little bit in there, but a lot of it is just very like it's picture pretty and it's just easy to do. So I'll get into the details of that in a little bit. So Instagram is tricky because they're always changing their algorithms and they're always changing things. And I don't know how many of you saw a drop in your story views over the last few months and you didn't do anything different. So for me, my story views dropped quite a bit. And so I've been playing with and trying to figure out a way to build better engagement. And this segues into how we can also have organic conversations with people on Instagram. So Instagram is meant to be social. So don't feel weird about sending messages, commenting on people's stuff. Like they're on there for the community of Instagram, and they will decide who they do and don't want in their little community when they get on there, just like we do. And so I guess like rule number one is don't take anything personal. So if they don't follow you back, if they don't respond and completely ghost, your message that you send, all the things, that's okay. Either they just don't have time, or you just don't speak to them, and that's okay. Like you have to let that go. The second thing is Instagram is our business. So when we're on Instagram, we need to be really intentional because it's very easy to scroll and get distracted. And just remember all the conversations you're having, all of the interactions you're having, like have intention behind that. So as you are reaching out and talking to people, don't let it be the same people over and over and over again. Like it is time to get to work and expand and like get outside your comfort zone a little bit and talk to more people. So before I get into exactly what you could say in a conversation and how to kind of like naturally talk about it, I just wanted to share kind of how I've shifted my power hour just a little bit because engagement is something that I'm really, really focused on right now. And it's working. So I will say that like I've been able to not fully, but like get my views back up on stories. And to be honest, I feel like stories are where it's at. And if you listen to the wake up call, I think it was this week, how she says every day she's creating FOMO in her stories, inviting in her stories, being funny in her stories, that's what people want and what they're doing on Instagram. But it doesn't matter how amazing and awesome our stories are if nobody's watching them. So, and it's so much easier to send a invite, a conversation starter, anything to people who are watching your stories or liking your posts. So, because they opened the door by looking at your story, for that. They opened the door to your business. So this is kind of what I've been doing. You can take your time increments and do it how you want, but I'm trying to set aside, just pick what you have time for that day. But I spend 10 minutes-ish I try to get up to 50 people that I'm following. And the way I do this, because it's super easy to get distracted on Instagram, you guys, is one day a week, I go on there and I find a really cool account that I like to follow. something I'm interested in that has kind of a lot of interaction, a lot of followers, and I just keep I like make a list of 10. And they are genuinely, like, I used to just be going out and finding people that I thought like kind of had the same messages as me and that kind of stuff. And now I'm like, no, like people I would want to follow, people me right now would want to follow and be interested in. And then I have that list. So when I sit down for that 10 minutes, I'm not like not knowing what to do. I just type in that person's profile. I go to their last picture. I see who's liked on it. And if they are not obviously a coach or selling some other type of MLM product, then I add them. And I just kind of, it takes practice, but you can get through that. In 15 minutes, you could add 50 people. You could. And this is where you have to detach yourself and be like, but they might not like me back. They might, I don't care. Who cares? Like, just like it anyway and just go for it. Here's the thing. A lot of them won't like you back right away because they don't know you. They're private accounts maybe. They don't like that somebody's, looking at their, they might not love it. But here's what they do often do. They often watch your stories. Okay. So even if they're not liking you back, they're watching your stories. And if they watch your story, that's an invite. That's some way that you can reach out to them, whether they have followed you back or not. Does that make sense? So I just take 10 minutes. I try to get as many people as I can. And then I spend 10 minutes going through my feed and just liking and commenting like crazy. Liking and commenting like crazy. You guys, if your feed is just the people on this call, then we have problems. Like, it's okay to mute me if you want, and like mute us for a minute and spend your time just interacting, like being on Instagram for what Instagram is for. And that is just being friends with people. And so that will help your engagement. Just talking to people. So that is not necessarily private messaging. That's just, but it is commenting. It is commenting on their photos. So simple. So simple to do. Like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Congratulations. Or that's interesting. Where did you find that? Super natural. Don't say anything that you wouldn't normally say. So it does need to be in your voice. And this is also how I weed out people. Like, I'm like, oh, what is this person saying? I unfollow. Just like that, and then move on. So really your feed should be the people that you're talking to. And then as you're going through that, I take another like 5 minutes or so, and I choose out, like I will actually write down some of their names. And those are kind of like somebody said it in their power hour. It's like a 511 or something like that. So like I will actually take them, go to their profile, like on their last 5 photos, comment on 2 of them, and write their name down, because tomorrow I'm going to send that person a message. Whether they've interacted back with me or not, like that's just how I'm going to do it. And so, and it doesn't have to be an invite message, but I'm going to like open the communication a bit more. Okay. And so then you just take a few minutes and you go to your list from the day before and you actually send a message, just like, hey, I'm so happy to connect on Instagram. My invite I've gotten to where it's very like, and I will share, and I know Stacey's really good with her invites too. Like I will share some screenshots of some of my invites and what they sound like, but they're really, really simple. So it's just like, hey, I'm so glad to connect with you on Instagram. I'm actually in the process of like brainstorming my next boot camp. I wanted to make sure you knew you were invited. If it's not your thing, that's so like fine. Is it something that maybe you'd want more information on? And then I'm like, and I always end with like new line. Either way, I'm super happy to connect. And like, because then I just barely added that last little part because I just felt like I think a lot of people on Instagram are tired of the copy and paste messages. And are you only connecting with me because you want something from me? And so I'm just like, either way, I'm happy to connect on Instagram. And if I've been actually genuinely like their name is written down and I'm connecting with them, it's true. I'm so grateful to connect with you on Instagram. Something. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's kind of how I've been able to help my engagement grow a little bit. If I have more time at the end of my power hour, I do all of that again. So the more time that you can be just kind of diving in, don't ever add more than 50 people or more than 100 people in a day, though, just so you know. I'm pretty sure that might cause a red flag with Instagram. But the more you're like in there, like strategically in there, the better. So just keep that in mind for engagement purposes. So then it's very easy. And then that's also right around then is when I stick up my post for the day, because Instagram sees that I'm talking to people, and I have no idea if this is algorithm right or not. I don't know, but I know that that's how it used to be on Facebook. So I'm just taking it with me to Instagram, that if you're talking to people, then maybe those people are going to see the post that you just made. And my posts are usually valuable enough that they're going to like on the post, like there's some sort of providing value in there. Okay, so then part of this process is to go to your story views. I used to hit story views and then go in a few frames to see who continues to watch the story. I've stopped doing that. I just go to the most recent story because that's where the money is. That's where like more people are. They still have watched your story. I don't care that they clicked out of it. Okay. And I message every person that's never had a message. That's a woman. That's, you know what I mean? A person that you like. Don't just don't send Javier, whatever. But you, wow, I feel like I'm going 90 miles a minute, but I'm really sorry. I'm just trying to get it all out there so we can talk about the coaching sneak peek. But you send them like a thanks so much for watching my stories. Like, I appreciate the love. Sometimes I'll even add like, it's scary to put myself out there sometimes, or something like that. Super normal. Like, that's not weird to say that to somebody. And then I'm like, just so you know, I have a group coming up. It'd be super fun to have you in there. Is that something you'd want to do? Either way, thanks for watching my stories. And leave it at that. If they are watching your story and you see that you have already sent them that message, but they ghosted you, then you could send them a follow-up message that's like, hey, I just wanted to make sure you saw my invite. I am not going to bug you about it. This is what I write. I am not going to keep bugging you about it. I just wanted to say thanks one more time. End of story. I don't message them anymore, but I do if they're still. There's the other thing, and this is why it's okay. I don't track necessarily this part, but I am every day I'm in with who are watching my stories. So even if they've ghosted me a few times, even if they said maybe not right now, if I see that they're still watching my stories, I'll watch their stories. If they have stories, I'll go on a post for a second. And I try to do some sort of interaction with them that brings it back to the DM. So somehow send them a DM that has nothing to do with the invite above. A lot of times that's a story reaction, like, wow, that looked really good, or that looks so fun. And they are more willing to start interacting with you that way. And then later on you can be like, hey, I know maybe the timing wasn't right, last month, but is it, either way, whatever. Does that make sense? Stacy?
Also, if they ghost me, or if they say not interested, but they're still watching me 3 months later, because you can get an idea of who's watching you on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. I send them hey, I see you're still watching my stories. Thank you. Do you want info on my boot camp? Because to me, the initial invite is like inviting them to watch my reality show. And if they've been watching it for 3 months, they're curious. And I had someone yesterday that was like, she ghosted me the first time I invited her. I sent her that, hey, I see you're still watching my stories 3 months later. And she wants to join when she gets paid. So don't be afraid to send another follow-up invite, even if they never responded to the first one, because if they're still watching you, they're curious.
Yeah, I love that. And I think sometimes we hold back because we don't want to take it personally that they might reject us. And that's okay though. They can reject us. Lindsay, did you have something? Oh, I thought you unmuted yourself, but I was seeing things. um, so does that kind of help? I hope that that helps on how to like get the convo rolling. Okay, now Lindsay.
So my problem is I never get to see, like, hardly ever remember within the 24 hours to look at them. Like, it's usually like right after they expire because I try to work around the same time frame. So I'm not seeing who they are, and then if I do, it's always, always, always the same people. I have the same 50 people that watch me every day. So they're probably getting sick of me messaging them.
Okay, so that one, it's good that you have like a loyal following, even if it's small. It's like nice that you have a loyal following. Two, I would try to start. So that means the very first thing you need to do when you sit down on your power hour is do the invites and start with your story like right away. And so I feel like if you just start with that, and sometimes we don't want to because it's like not the fun part or it's uncomfortable, but just start with that right away. And then this is where like growing your network is going to help you significantly. And so not being afraid to try to add, I would try to add 50 to 100 people every day, Lindsay.
So I've grown my network. So since last July, I started with 150 followers, and I'm up to 750 about. So it's grown quite a bit,
Yeah, that's awesome.
but like stories, in the last 3 months, they've jumped from like 15 people watching to 50, but a lot of those are people that don't speak English. So I go look at their profile and it's all in like Russian or something, or
No,
a bunch of weird men.
yes. Yeah, I get those too. So I think then if you are building your network and I would be then going through your feed and interacting with people who, because they might not watch your story just because your bubble doesn't show up in their first, 5 or 6 story bubbles, and that's all they got time for is those first, 5 or 6 bubbles. That's kind of like for me anyway. So I would that's where the interaction is going to be really useful is like interacting with people, and then like still trying to follow people and just making sure that where you're getting people to follow is a good, you know is people that would speak English and have the same interests as you and that kind of thing. Does that make sense? I mean, we all still get, it's international, so we get lots of craziness, but um does anyone have anything to add to that?
Yeah,
Stacy?
I every day I go through my notifications and I look at everyone who's followed me from the last 24 hours, and I will go and like and comment on their stuff. And I've noticed that doing it that quickly, I've seen an increase of them being curious on my stories. So I see them watching my stories sooner. I see them liking and commenting on my posts sooner. So, and I'll go like on like 3 or 4 of their posts so that in their notifications, they see my name and they're curious. They're like, who's this person? They go to my page, they see I have stories, they start to watch. So that's helped me to get more views and like different people viewing my stories.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think it just takes time. I was reading this morning in Rachel Hollis's book, Girls Stop Apologizing, and she had a really good quote. I think I put it on my stories actually, but it's like the daily little habit that you have. So all these little things that we just went through, you're doing them every day, and it won't seem like there's a lot of growth. And then one day you'll be like, whoa, I've grown. Like it's happening. And so and it's about consistency. And so I don't know how you guys are, but for me sometimes this has been my MO since the day I started coaching, okay? I do some of the things on my power hour, but I don't get to everything on my power hour that day. And then the next day it's like trying to catch up on the other things, and then those things get lost by the wayside. And so it's like our invites really do depend on if we are reaching out to people, growing our network, interacting with them, being genuine, and sending invites. And so it's like this whole process, and I struggle with it too. And so some days when I'm like, I really have no one to invite today. Like there are some days where I'm just like, same people, same, and I do one of two things. I either walk away discouraged because I'm human, or, and this is what I'm training myself to do, and I'm so much better at it now. I'm like, okay, so what can I do today? I need to go out and find people that are like me. I need to be better at growing my my Instagram. And so that's why this focus for me has been engagement and growth, because I already believe my content's good. I see all of your content. It's good. So now it really, really is, okay, if I don't have anyone to invite, then I'm going to spend an extra 30 minutes today just working on growing and connecting to people on Instagram. Does that make sense? Stace?
I think too, one thing I've noticed is I don't know if this is the Instagram algorithm, but every day I do some kind of interactive poll, question, one of the swipey things in my stories, and it doesn't have to be necessarily anything Beachbody, but just something to get my viewers to engage with. And I think that moves your bubble like higher up in the list so that more people see it, because you have people engaging in your stories.
And that's interesting. That's probably true.
And I think the more you don't only just want to talk in your stories, but I think if you're doing like different things, like you're talking, you're showing a still photo, you're doing a boomerang, like if you're making it a bunch of different styles, I think that helps too, instead of just like always doing the same thing.
I agree. Everybody, you need to talk on at least one story frame every day. You don't have to talk about coaching at all. You can literally get on and be like, just so you know, my kids were driving me crazy today, the end. Or if I have to go to another swim meet, the end. Like it doesn't matter. And you will have followers who will never listen to them. Okay? They will skip through your voice all the time. Okay? But you will also have those who, that is how they connect with you. Like they don't know you, they want to know you, but they're like, I don't know you. And still shots don't do it. And for me, when I'm getting to know somebody, I will always unmute a little bit, not necessarily for their message, but to hear their voice, to hear how they talk, to hear kind of like what they're saying. So I would say like that is definitely something that I try really, really hard to do. I don't do it on Sundays, but unless I like really have something to say. But I do really try to talk on my story every single day. And it's scary, but like the thing is, our exercise videos are motivating, and don't ever think that they're not. So you might get so sick of putting them on there. I get so sick of putting them on there sometimes. But then you get a message from someone that's like, wow, you're so consistent. Like, I finally am ready because I feel inspired by watching you every day. And I'm like, oh, because I'm not inspired by it anymore. No, but like, it's the same thing with your voice, because it can't just be workouts. It has to be more than that. And so they need to see your voice, a little peek into your life that way. So anyway, so yes, that is one area that everyone could probably improve on. But Stacy, you're really good at it, by the way.
Well, it didn't start out that way, and I still don't feel 100% comfortable, but I've had people tell me like in messages that they love hearing me talk, and I'm like, really? That's weird, but they love it. And I think too, when it comes to inviting, like you have to have confidence in your message, so you have to invite the way you want to be invited, because you could send any script, because any script would work as long as you like are confident that someone will respond to it. But it goes the same for stories. Like they need to see your contagious energy, because that's how they connect with you, and they want to join you, because there's something about you that maybe they don't have in their life. And so that contagious energy is what's going to attract them to you.
Yeah, I second what Stacy said. A lot of times it's creating the FOMO even if you're not even talking about coaching, because they can just tell by listening to your voice that you're happy, like that you have, just something that maybe they're missing, so yeah, like that's what I would do. And so just recap. So when you're sitting down and you feel like you don't have anyone to invite to, go out and make some friends. And then also don't take for granted like all of the followers you have already. Sometimes I even just go click on like who follows me. And then I just kind of like randomly will go through like, and just like on some of their stuff and, interact with them that way. A lot of times they just forget about you. And it's not that because you're just not up in there. And I'm going to start doing that. I think at one point I was doing that, just sticking a poll on there, sticking that little bubble thing on there somewhere in their story. It could be like, look how awesome this day is. Yep. I agree. Like, and that probably does. The Instagram it rewards those who do create engagement. So no matter what their algorithms are, it's gotta be that. So there's that. Okay, I'll put some of my scripts down below too, by the way, and I'll do the whole process. The other thing is people are really busy, so when they do say, sure, what's the deets, don't beat around the bush, but also don't explode on them. So I will share kind of like the from beginning to end conversation that I have with people, and then just tweak it for you, like put it in your voice. But okay, so I'm going to shift over to our coach open house. I've never done one on Instagram before, full disclosure, but I'm ready to do one. And also I thought about asking some coaches who have already done it, because I know there are some on Forward Fitness who have run them on Instagram, how they did it. But I stopped because I kind of want to see how we do it first and then compare notes. So that's how I have learned the most of things. So, and there is somebody who shared, I don't know if you guys can kind of see, like she shared, the glare is really bad, but she kind of shared kind of what her feed looked like and then a little bit of her story. This is just a screenshot. She just shared a screenshot. I'll put that in there. But that was all the resource that I had, was just looking at that. And I thought, this is good. I really like this. So I created an Instagram that I'm happy to send the login and the password to anyone who wants to collaborate on this. Nobody has to if you don't want to. What I would like from as many team members as possible is just take one of your transformation posts that you've done recently, just change it a little bit so that, like, because most of our transformation posts have an invite at the end or things like that. Just make it for a coach sneak peek, and then send it, because I would like to have a stationary post of transformations and have them where they can click on a post and see transformations. So the idea is, I was thinking Wednesday through Friday is what I was thinking. Mondays are terrible for me to start something. Also, I was listening to somebody somewhere and they said that weekends people are more likely to say yes to things because they're just feeling good and happy. And so if we're ending the sneak peek on a weekend, then, maybe we'll have a little bit more positive energy flow. I don't know. But I just know the second half of the week is always better for me. So it'll be Wednesday through Friday. I will have just like a 9 square or a 12 square kind of setup where there's 3 posts that go out each day for the 3 days or something. So a 9 square or a 12 square. What? then you have to ask Gracie. I'm still on my call. Where it has like, what do we do as coaches would be one. And so this is for the people who don't necessarily want to watch stories. They just want the information. So this is kind of like what we would have in our files of a Facebook group. So like, what do we do as coaches? Transformations, common fears, the travel and perks. What does it cost to be a coach? So there's just like a little 9-patch square. By the end of the thing, it'll all be there so that they can just go in and they can just click on different ones. I thought about pre-loading all of them, but then I was like, well, if we load it while they're in it, then it comes up in their feed, which I like. So I like, yeah, let's do that. Let's bombard them instead. So I will put a like start here kind of a post in there so that we can start adding people to it today, like start adding people all the way through. So I just called it Coach Life Be Like. Okay. I also created one that says Team Life on Fire. But then I was like, if I was somebody scrolling through Instagram, I think we should stick with Coach Life Be Like for the name, for the Instagram, how you find it. And then the actual name though will say Team Life on Fire. Like, or what is coaching or Coach Open. I don't know yet. So those who want to collaborate, like if you want like in on this, then just send me a message and like we'll set up a group chat and like get out the nitty gritties. For those of you who just kind of are like, and I just want to show up and invite people, then you don't need to worry about those those things. Unless you're like, please include this. Okay. So there'll be some sort of something like start here so that they can go in. Maybe there'll be like one Instagram story saved. Just like a, hey, welcome to our team. We're going to introduce ourselves, that kind of thing. And then what I do want, whether you're helping with it or not, if you're willing to send me a transformation, which I go out and get them from you guys anyway. If you notice on my stories, I often include you guys. But maybe you have a favorite one or a favorite message you want to say. And then also a coaching transformation. So it's really, really good to show the physical, but then also just your life. So it doesn't have to be financial. It can be. It doesn't have to be. It can be, your routines, your whatever. Like yesterday, my little coaching nugget that I stuck in there was like, my mindset changes because I talk to you guys, like it's changed completely. So send me physical transformation and then like a coaching transformation, like of any kind that you want. And we'll like I'll put a post. Sorry, I'm still like really in the planning phase of this. I'll put a post in our team page and then everyone can add stuff to it underneath of your transformation and all of that kind of stuff so that we can include it on the thing. And then those who are helping run the group will just have the login and the password and we'll just go in there and put it together. But I will collectively get all the really so much of this is transfer and paste. So what you can do is invite them to the Instagram sneak peek. And then you need to be talking about it on your stories every day, just a little nugget. And if you're doing that over the next 7 days, then this time next week, you will have some people, hopefully, that are like interested enough to hop in there and check it out. Okay. It is a private Instagram, so they will have to request to join. And that way we keep it kind of more tight knit and it is kind of a sneak peek. So, and we want to know who's watching it, who's showing up to it. And then in the stories, if you feel up for hopping on a story and talking and saying something about one way that coaching has helped you, or you could talk about any of the coaching topics. So I'll have like a Google Doc. I'll have a list. I'll put it all up in the team page. But that's kind of where we're headed. Does that make sense? Or did I just like explode all the like craziness on you and you're like, I can't even follow that. Okay, good. I think it'll be so much better than Facebook because I'm never on Facebook. So So I'm like, can we just like do this? Oh, and then the beautiful thing of this, that's right. The beautiful thing of doing the Instagram group is that one, they stay in there. It's always there. And once it's over, we can still be inviting people to that group, to that Instagram feed, because, it's awesome. And every once in a while, we'll just throw a story up or throw a little thing up to kind of keep it alive and call it good. Also, I will put a Google Doc in there, like if you're ready to sign up, do it here. And that Google Doc will just kind of be like, who is the coach that invited you into the sneak peek? It'll just kind of be like the very basic stuff. And then it just looks more professional. I don't know, something. I just was noticing that somebody did that, and I thought it was a good idea. So that it's all just spelled out. You really will have some people that are like, okay, whatever, like, what do I have to do? I'm ready. And they don't want to take the time to like wait for you to respond or whatever. They don't know who to talk to. And so they, the fire goes dull, dim. So anyway. All right. Anything else? Yeah, Stacy.
When people request to join, is it just going to be the admins, like whoever sees it will just accept people, and then because we can see
like who they have mutual followers with, maybe?
Yeah, and then we'll know which coach they're with.
Yeah, I mean, that part will get a little bit tricky. Pretty much if they, and Stacy, I'm assuming that you want to collaborate on this, so I feel like you're going to be one of the admins. Pretty much if they look like normal people that aren't already coaches or working for some other type of something, then I'll probably just add them in. Like at the beginning right now, this month, it'll be probably really obvious because we're all kind of like new. We're just barely inviting to it right now. But as it grows and continues to grow, I don't know. I actually don't know really all the way. And that's why that Google form will be in there so that when they are ready, it's kind of like, it'll be very clear. Like if you're joining this, you're joining all of us. This is a team. So which coach, like who was your friend that invited you to this group? And then that way we know who we can, like, hey, your friend so-and-so wants to enroll as a coach, or hey, your prospect. Does that make sense? And then the coach open house, like the Coach Life Be Like, yes, they're the ones that are posting everything and they're the ones putting on the stories, but we're all being there as ourselves, interacting and tagging and doing all that stuff too. So like Amber will be in there tagging and being like, hey, Casey, this is where you can see the coach, whatever. Like I won't use the Coach Life Be Like to tag people. It will be our individual accounts. Does that make sense? Kind of. So like we'll just try to really present it as a team.
Maybe people that are like sending people there could like just send you guys a message, say, hey, I'm sending so-and-so, just so you know, or,
Really good idea. So when I helped host the last group on Facebook, that was just like Team Forward Fitness's thing. I don't know, like most of the people who were in there. So I didn't know any of the requests. And so people knew that I was co-hosting it with Brigitte, like helping her. And so coaches would just message me and say, hey, will you approve so-and-so? And so that actually is a really great idea. So if you have somebody that you are like, this is going to be a rock star person, send a message, because then also it'll remind us to go in and accept them right away too, versus forget about them. So for sure. Yeah. So
I also plan, because I saw in Micah Folsom's stories that she would just like, as she's talking about coaching, she would share the group name. And so people could just, without even talking to her, just go and request to join that page. So I'm going to do that a lot too, just because I find there are people who don't necessarily want to talk to you yet, but they want to know more. So
yes,
probably get people coming in that we don't know are going to join, but are our followers.
Yeah, I noticed on a coach's one as well, who was running one, that they actually replaced their Linktree link for the week with the coach open house link to like go to that Instagram profile. And so it would be like, to find out more about what I do, go here. And like versus the link tree. So you could either put it in your link tree or you could replace it. I think I'm just going to replace it for a week and just see, because our boot camp just started. So I'm like, who am I going to be working on right now? I want coaches, you know? So that's kind of what I'm thinking in my head. And Joe looks like she might be unmuting. Are you? Okay. It's nice to see your face though. We like that.
I've missed you girls so much.
We miss you too.
I'm so tired.
Okay, I'm going to stop this recording so I can take a picture.